Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Coach Josh, and here's another Barely Mentioned podcast, a podcast designed to help men and the women that desire to get to know them. And today we're going to be talking about something very, very, very important. The title of this discussion or this podcast is Are You a Keeper? So if you're watching this live, do me a big favor and share this broadcast out to as many people as possible. If you're watching this later on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or SoundCloud, or listening in those areas, but listening or watching later on YouTube, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the unpluggers, so I'm great. I'm excited about building this community here online. Make sure you always go to the community tab on my page to get more information and more things for myself so that you'll be able to kind of help us build this unplugged community of individuals who endeavors to grow spiritually for God's optimal use. But let's get right into today's talk. I'm glad you guys are here with me. What's up, Josh? Thank you for being back with me, Josh, and everyone else that's watching. This worksheet is out. Man, I didn't put it on my website yet, but once this video is over, what's up, Simone? I'll make sure. Lachelle, how you doing? Doors of Success Foundation, thank you for watching from Detroit. I'll make sure I put this up as soon as I am done. But the text that we've been in for the fellas, good morning, good afternoon from Maryland. What's up? Oh, thank you guys so much for rocking with me. I'm glad these videos are a blessing to you. We'll be coming out of 1 Kings chapter 2. I have three main texts that's going to be the foundational points of today's discussion. But the scripture, fellas and ladies, that we've been in is 1 Kings chapter 2, which says, when David's time to die drew near, he commanded Solomon his son, saying, I am about to go the way of all the earth, meaning he's about to die. Be strong and show yourself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord your God, walking in his ways and keeping his statutes, his commandments, his rules, and his testimonies. And this right here, we're going to focus on and show yourself a man. Verse 3 is what we're going to focus on. And keep the charge of the Lord your God, walking in his ways and keeping his statutes, his commandments, his rules, and his testimonies. But I'm going to read the other two scriptures, and then we're going to get right into our points, and we're going to really break this down. Now, Psalms 119:9 says, how can a young man keep his way pure? He keeps it pure by guarding it according to the word. John 14 is Jesus talking. He says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper to be with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. You know him, for he dwells with you. Let's get into our points, because I have a lot that I want to say that's going to help men and women to examine and see, are they truly keepers? The problem, a lot of men are not keeping well due to them not wanting to be well kept. A lot of men are not keeping well due to them not wanting to be, or due to them not wanting to be well kept. Some are too busy trying to keep up with the next man instead of keeping up with themselves. The problem when it comes to men being keepers is that a lot of men are not keeping well, they're not keeping themselves well, they're not keeping their families well, they're not keeping their children well, they're not keeping their ministry or business well, they're not keeping well due to them not wanting to be well kept, meaning that a man is only as good as his willingness to be kept. Some are too busy trying to keep up with the next man instead of keeping up with themselves. The reason why men are not keeping themselves in the things that they are meant to steward well is due to the gatekeepers. We're talking about people who stand in these different gates that allow certain agendas to flood through. Gatekeepers are the individuals that determines what kind of information comes through and what kind of information goes out, altering the minds of individuals, hoping that they'll mimic the image that they have molded in front of the minds of the masters, hoping that men gravitate to these different forms of masculinity. That's why I charge every man to really examine what kind of man are they molded themselves after. What kind of gatekeepers can be demons too. Great point. Demons, these are these demonic entities that utilize as male figures to permeate or perpetuate an agenda that whose main goal is to ensure that men don't match the image of God, but match a perverted image. And there's a lot of gatekeepers, whether it's those who spew out from different sects and from different avenues, different forms of ideologies and different forms of identity, causing men not to keep what God wants them to keep well. Let's keep going. What keeps you well determine how you keep. What keeps you will determine how you keep. A lot of men are being kept with different mindsets and different ideologies, different philosophies that has no strength in them to keep them for the long haul. It is my ultimate objective as a man to make sure that I'm allowing myself to be supernaturally kept by God, supernaturally kept, sustained, sourced, influenced, inspired by, so that as I go into my marriage and as I go into parenthood, as I go into deeper in ministry and deeper to wherever God is leading me, I am able, because of him, to keep. That's why he says, if you love me, you will keep. And I'm going ahead of myself, but let me bring it down a little bit. What keeps you will determine how you keep. Fellas, you have to ask yourself, what's keeping you? Are you trying to keep yourself? Are you allowing these gatekeepers, philosophies, and ideologies and principles to keep you? Because whatever you allow to keep you will determine how you keep the things that God cares about you keeping. Now, next point. We're kept through love. I love this. We're kept through love. Men, we are kept through love. Keeping is the fruit of love. That comes from John 14:15 says, if you love me, Jesus is saying, you will keep my commandments. And in order for me to keep the commandments of God, there's rules, the statutes, the charge of God, I have to first allow it to be birthed from love. That when I love my wife, I can keep my wife. When I love God, I can keep the things of God up well. And men have to understand that your first priority is your relationship with God. Your first priority is to develop a relationship with God that is so potent that it floods into every area of life, that you begin to have the mind of Christ as you begin to engage in the sanctification work of Jesus, and your mind becomes more renewed on the original perspectives of a thing.
Miss Haliger, could you please call the office? Miss Haliger, could you please call the office?
As you are being kept by God and your mind is being renewed, now from your relationship with God, you love your wife better, you love your children better, you love the people better, you love the things of God better. You are able to keep them because of the love that's keeping you. Because Jesus has kept keeping me and sustaining me, I have enough to keep. And that's what we have to understand, that we're kept through love. It is my responsibility, like I said before, to intentionally, even when I don't feel like it as a man, I have to intentionally engage in my relationship with God, intentionally, disciplinedly, every single day, to the best of my ability, engage with God, being open to conversation, being open to being led, because I know the more that I engage with him, the more I grow as an individual. You know, I work at elementary school, but the more I grow in the things of God, the more I'm able to keep. It says here, keeping is the fruit of love. Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments, meaning that the level of my obedience predicated on the level of my awe. It's a level of my love. It's basically on a level of my appreciation, because that he says you can't keep my commandments outside of love. And this love you can't even birth out of your own carnal self. It's a love that is birthed and sustained by the Spirit that is sealing you. And from that, the fruit of that is, God, you so good to me. I am in shock. I'm in awe that I have grown leaps and bounds where I'm now able to keep things that I used to not keep well, but I'm keeping them well now. Next point, you have to be kept to keep. Fellas, you have to be kept to keep. Now, I tell men, if you don't want to be a man of responsibility, if you do not want to manage a family or manage children or manage whatever, then don't do it. Be by yourself. But the moment you came out the womb as a man, there's going to be some responsibilities as you make decisions that the buck stops with you. That as a man, you have to know that, for me, I can only talk about me. I am married now. So I have to make sure that I keep my marriage. If I didn't want to compromise, if I did not want to sacrifice for a woman, if I didn't want to listen at night, if I wanted to come home when I wanted to, if I wanted to do what I want to do, I should have never got married. But since I vow to be the leader that helps keep this marriage together, I now have to manage the responsibilities that come with that. That's why you shouldn't make decisions off of emotions. You shouldn't make decisions off of passion, because if you do not have the equity of preparation to sustain it, then you're setting setting yourself up for failure. And in order for me to keep a wife and keep children and keep a ministry and keep integrity and keep up to my character, I have to be kept. Men who are kept are able to keep. Every day I'm asking God, Lord, I need your help. I'm acknowledging you in all of my ways, because I know in doing so my paths will be made straight. I'm going to trust you with all of my heart. I'm not going to lean onto my understandings. I'm going to really engage with you and discipline myself so that I can be even more open to hear. So that as I do that, I will be able to supernaturally, beyond the basic strength that came through me as a son, first through Adam, but now that I'm a son that was brought into and grafted into the family because of Jesus, now I am supernaturally able to, wow, I'm actually listening. I'm actually taking the time to understand my wife. I'm actually more patient. You need the fruit of the Spirit in order to keep. You can't keep nothing. Please explain kept. Does that apply to sexual sin? Yes. Kept means that how can I make this plain? Good question. Kept, actually, I have how to be kept. I'm gonna get there for a minute. I got 4 points on how to be kept, Josh. I'll get there. But what I'm saying now is that the fruit of the Spirit is what helps me keep. That I cannot keep a wife without love. I can't keep a wife without joy. I can't keep a wife without goodness. I cannot keep a family without meekness. I cannot keep a family without long suffering. I can't keep a ministry with love. I can't keep a ministry without joy and love. I can't keep it. I have to engage with the Spirit of God. I have to grow in the Spirit of God, then grieve the Spirit. Many of us, the reason why we're not growing the fruit that we need to grow, because we are more in grievance. We grieve the Spirit more than we grow in the Spirit. As I grow in the Spirit, I grow in my ability to manage. So I tell every man, if you do not have the ability to fully respond to a wife, or the ability to fully respond to children, or the ability to fully respond to the call, then don't respond. But many people are raising their hands, responding to things that they are incapable of in their own strength to manage. Let's keep going. Let's go over. I said the problem. A lot of men are not keeping well due to them not wanting to be well kept. Some are too busy trying to keep up with the next man instead of keeping up with themselves. I said the cause are the gatekeepers. There are individuals who are permeating an agenda, a message that's hindering people from maturing. Hey, Miss Pat, how you doing? You want me to get the trash for you?
Yeah. What you doing in here?
I'm recording a video.
Oh, okay.
Live. I'm trying to inspire the people.
I know that's right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hey, ma'am, how you doing?
This is Miss Kelly.
Hey, Miss Kelly, how you doing now? She helping you out.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm talking about.
Maybe my people be back. See if we can get them.
Oh, they're not feeling well?
Dom hurt his neck. The kid took an extra day.
Don hurt his neck.
Yeah, he hurt his little neck.
Lord, hope he all right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he should be back. While you do those, I'm gonna go check the bathroom. He should be back. Hopefully, Ken will be back tomorrow. I don't know about Dom or not.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure I send some prayers up to Dom now.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hurt your neck. That's something serious.
Yeah, he said he couldn't even drive.
Lord.
Yeah. He left Friday. He said he went to the hospital. So they sent him to a specialist today.
Okay.
So pray for him.
I sure will.
All right.
All right now. Yes, ma'am. I'll see you tomorrow now. All right, guys, I'm back. Like I was saying, that in order for me to be able to keep, I have to first be kept. Now, let me keep going. It says, what keeps you will determine how you keep. We're kept through love, plus keeping is the fruit of love. Let's get to some more points. It says, a kept man keeps. He keeps these 14 things. Get your pen and paper out and write these 14 points down. A kept man keeps. He keeps, number one, God first. A kept man, in order for him to keep well, he has to, number one, keep God first. That's very important. If you can't keep him first, you're not going to be able to manage anything second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You're not going to be able to manage anything because you're not keeping him first. It is our responsibility to ensure that he is kept first. Not number two, not number three. And let me be honest with you as a believer. It is not easy keeping him first. It is not easy keeping him first, but it's beneficial. it's important to keep him first. And that's what I love about the challenge of life, is that I actually get to see the fruit of keeping him first. That I actually get to see the fruit, that in order for me to keep my wife, she can't be first. Some people want to be kept first. No, no, no. I got to make sure that I am keeping God first, so I can keep everything from number 2, 3, 4, 5 and downward, so that I'm able to keep. And that's what's the problem with a lot of us, man. We are not keeping him first, that we're first, or our families first, or our ministry first. And there's a big difference between your purpose and God being first. I had to learn that for my own self. My ministry and God ain't the same thing. My ministry don't even come top 3. Number 1 is God. That's my personal relationship with God, not my public ministry or public display of my personal relationship with God. And most ministers, the reason why their kids go crazy and their wives feel alone is because they think ministry and God are the same. They're not the same. God comes first, then your family, and then third is whatever he wants you to be third. But so many people, they put the wrong things first. A kept man keeps God first. Number 1, a kept man keeps up with the will of God for his life. I put that, keeps up with the will of God for his life. I don't got to worry about your will. I don't got to worry about. My goal is to help aid that will. My goal is to be able to aid what God wants you to do. But I can't. But I can't keep up with your purpose. I got to keep up with the will of God for my life. A kept man says, I'm focusing on God's will because there's safety there. The will of God will not take you where his grace won't keep you. And I do not want to be outside of that grace. And I'm not talking about the grace for my salvation. I'm talking about the specific grace for my assignment. And so that specific grace is, okay, it's because you're not keeping up with it. You're wasting time. You're 60. You should have started this back when you're 30, and now you outdated. You can't get mad at God if you start late. Now, God can redeem the time, but there's certain things that's time sensitive. Okay? And a kept man knows that I can only keep up with the will of God for my life, because I know that whatever God has for my life and my will, it will be supernaturally sustained, because I know for a fact this woman is according to God's will for me. And ladies, you'll be able to say this man is according to God's will for me. The children are according to God's will for me. This assignment is according to God's will with me. And then you will see a supernatural provision that's keeping you. A kept man keeps himself up. He keeps himself up, keeps himself well, keeps himself in shape, keeps himself in fit mentally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. He keeps himself up. Did I miss her question? What was her question? I said it was a good question. I'm sorry. So married or not, God is the head above the woman and man. However, when Paul wrote the letter about married couples, how come he said that a woman or man attention is to his or her husband's wife? What he was saying was, he was trying to make a point. He was like, let me let y'all know something. Let me let y'all know something. That when you get married, your time is cut in half. Let me know if you guys still hear me. I'm just trying to make sure I go back live.